Have you ever wondered what would happen if you didn't show up for a flight? If this question has ever crossed your mind, then you'll be happy to know that today's video will cover this very topic. I'll dive into the consequences, potential fees, and how the airlines handle no-show passengers. Let's go.
Dream vacations start here.
There are a lot of different reasons as to why someone would not show up for a flight, so I'm going to go through as many different scenarios that I can think of, and hopefully this will help you out if you run into any of these situations in the future. Let's start with the first scenario. What would happen if you don't show up for your flight and don't notify the airline? If you decide not to notify the airline that you'll be missing your flight, then you'll lose out on the full value of your ticket, and you also stand no chance of getting rebooked for the next flight. Now, if you are intentionally missing the first leg of your flight and are planning to still use the return flight tickets, if you fail to notify the airline that you'll be missing the flight, your return tickets will automatically get canceled. Now, there are exceptions to this rule where you can get reimbursed for a missed flight. Let's go over those exceptions. Reason number one, the loss of a family member. If you're mourning the loss of a family member, you'll get reimbursed for the total value of your flight. However, it is important to inform the airline as soon as possible, and you'll most likely have to show some kind of proof, such as a death certificate, but the airline will tell you what documents are needed. Reason number two, you're experiencing serious illness. If you can't make your flight because you are seriously ill, you can get reimbursed for your ticket or reschedule your flight date to when you think you are better. However, for this scenario, you will need a doctor's note to prove you are sick. Reason number three, natural disasters. Natural disasters can make it impossible to arrive at the airport on time or even leave your house. In these scenarios, you'll be eligible for a full refund, or you can elect to move your flight to the next available date. On the flip side of this, let's briefly cover a couple reasons where you would not get reimbursed for a missed flight. Reason number one, missing the flight unintentionally and not showing up to the airport at all. If you find yourself running late for your flight and eventually reach the point where you realize there's no chance of making your flight at all, still go to the airport. You will lose all your chances of getting any form of reimbursement or a rescheduled flight if you do not show up to the airport and notify the airline. Reason number two, missing a flight due to not having the right travel documentation. If you missed your flight because you forgot crucial documents like your ID, passport, or visa, you're not going to get any reimbursement from the airline. Preparing a checklist before you leave home is a good idea, and always double check that your documents are not going to expire soon. Most countries require that your passport not expire within 6 months from the time you plan to enter their country. I will say most of the major airlines have an unofficial, call it flat tire policy, where if you miss your flight due to unexpected events like having a flat tire on the way to the airport, or major traffic jams, or road closures, it gives the airline agents, using their best judgment, to either refund or reschedule the flight you missed. Each airline has their own flat tire policy, but in general, the more expensive the airline, the more likely you are to get reimbursed. Airlines are not obligated to have these policies, so if you're flying a budget airline, you most likely won't get a refund, even if you didn't miss the flight on purpose. Let's move on to another scenario. Let's say you're looking at airline prices online, and the city you want to go to has direct flights available, but they're really expensive. But then you find some other flights that go to a different city, but has a layover that stops in the city that you want to go to, and it's half the price of a direct flight, so you book it. This is what's called hidden city ticketing. Booking a flight with a layover, but you intend to end your flight at the layover city instead of the final destination. It's not illegal to do this, but it's only a good idea if you're trying to miss the last leg of your flight on either a one-way or round-trip ticket. This is because if you were to miss the second leg of your flight, the airline will cancel all the remaining flights under that ticket, including your return flights. Airlines will usually punish you for practicing this behavior by canceling your airline miles, or in severe cases, banning you from flying on their airline altogether. So the next question you may be asking yourself is, what will happen to my luggage if I don't show up for the second leg of my flight? Well, in a normal situation, the airline will automatically transfer your luggage to the next flight for you, as long as both flights were booked on the same ticket. However, there is a law in place that states that your luggage cannot travel to the final destination without you. The airline already knows who has checked in for your flight and how many bags you're bringing, so if you don't show up for your flight, the airline will remove your bag from the flight, and you can usually claim it at the lost property or lost luggage services after the plane has taken off. Now, it is important to note that this policy isn't always enforced, so sometimes your checked bag will fly on without you, even if it is illegal to do so. Another question you may be asking is, will you get charged for canceling a flight or not showing up? This depends on the airline and the kind of ticket you booked. You usually will lose the full value of your ticket if you don't show up for the flight. Most airlines will allow you to cancel your flight without a fee, but whether or not you receive a refund depends on the type of ticket you bought and the reason for the cancellation. If you booked a refundable fare ticket, then you'll receive a refund if you choose to cancel. And for a non-refundable fare, in most cases, you'll receive a flight credit to use for a future date. Now, if the airline cancels your flight, then you're owed a refund regardless of the fare type you booked. So even if you booked a non-refundable fare, you will still be owed a refund for the canceled flight. Another scenario is what happens if you don't show up for your connecting flight because your arriving flight was late. If this happens, then it is the airline's responsibility to get you on another flight and no additional charge to you. Your luggage will also get transferred to the next flight with you. However, if you booked each flight separately, then it'll be your responsibility to rebook yourself on another flight at your own cost. And let me know if you have experienced any of these types of scenarios before, or if you have any questions that I can help answer. Let me know down in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to catch you in the next one.